Alright, this is the Iron Man build update guide. Let's go over it. For the melee piece, there's only two pieces you want to consider for Iron Man. Either a 220 rampant assistance or a 18% crit chance with perfect stats. And the good news is for the melees, I found whatever offline vendor dates, so you're chilling. Just offline vendor these two pieces. This is the more generic piece, if you don't want to cheese the duration on the overcharge, but there's a way to do that, which I can show you. And perfect stats, 2.2, and a faultless spark is actually useful. Activating your support heroic and assault heroic will occasionally give you heroic charge burst, which is pretty nice. It's pretty useful top perk. Perfect stats, 2.2. I mean, it doesn't get better than this piece, and here's the date for it. The other melee piece, which you definitely want both, is this is the boss killer. 18% crit chance is a big deal, especially because this build does so much crit damage. If you cheese your Supercharge, you can have it last for minutes on end, so you can just equip this piece, obviously, just straight damage, hardest hitting piece in the game. And the faultless thing is actually useful. You can ground pound melee enemies to overcharge in emergency. Also, the Hulkbuster, if you melee, you can bring back the intrinsic. So that's a nice perk. Definitely, these are the two best possible top perks, perfect bottom perks, and perfect stats. Yeah, it's such a good piece. Alright, range pieces. There is a few range pieces, actually. One of them is the Vibranium rockets you get from the raid with the Rampant Breaker. You don't really care about the top perk, you want Precision Valor and this perk and Rampant Breaker. You can get it from the raid or the late raid. You could also save scum the Vibranium event if you want it. And the great thing about Vibranium is especially good in the raid, definitely better than Cosmic. The reason these rockets are so good is, yeah, they have good stats and damage buff, but Vibranium is 25% damage and 25% crit chance when enemies have it on them. So it's by far the best warm status in the game. Alright. Another option, if you want Vibranium rockets, is the Vault ones. They get a 18% rocket damage bonus, which is nice, intensity, proficiency, precision. If you want this piece, realistically you have to save scum the Red Room event for it. Either of these are both very good. It's mostly like, which stats do you care about? If you really want one piece of intensity and you don't have it, this piece has it, but if you already have a piece of intensity, there's this piece. This piece, the raid one, will hit harder, but this one has the intensity on it, Just things to consider. I would say having one piece of intensity for Iron Man is actually a good thing if you're running Vibranium, because the status is so powerful. Building it up better means higher DPS, obviously. Other options, here's are some starter filler options. I found this one on the offline vendor, targeted buff, targeted spark. It's a precision proficiency, sonic rockets. Here's another filler piece. If you care about the intensity, this one has it, and it's a lethal target buff. I found it. Here's the date for it. And if you don't want to grind for Vibranium rockets, I got you covered. I found this piece. It has a payload and a lethal defense buff. Just offline vendor it. Easy. You can just combo these ones if you want. If you don't want to grind. And of course, there are the Unicorn rockets, which is target buff, lethal tachyon surge, valor precision, rocket attack speed cosmic. Now, most people would assume that the tachyon rockets are the best rockets in the game. But that's actually not necessarily true. It is situationally true, but not always. And I'll explain why that's the case. But yeah, you would assume, right? 50% damage, 65% damage. This is a 25% damage on enemies of Cosmic. Super hard to. This is a piece takes hours and hours to get. You'd assume it's the best piece in the game. But I've run the numbers and I'll explain those real quick. Okay. Here are the numbers for different rockets. This is base rockets without, different buffs. All this stuff, I'm assuming you have basically perfect stats and whatnot, right? So This status damage, it means how much damage you're going to be doing to enemies if you can build the status on them. And as you notice, Tachyon is very high. It's higher than its sonic damage buff. However, look at this. These three actually hit harder than the Tachyon damage rockets. And the reason for that is because the status is more powerful. Vibranium / Shock do 25% damage and 25% crit chance, right? Tachyon is only 25% damage against enemies, and Sonic is 25% crit chance. However, if you look down, this is the no status damage, meaning this is against, for example, the eye phase. When you shoot those walkers that statuses cannot build up against them, Tachyon rockets are the best. However, if you can build status against the enemies, the vibranium rockets, these vibranium raid rockets actually are the best. Assuming we have damage buff, which is going to come from a Berserker 4-piece, okay, which is hard to get. So, which should you run? Should you go for the Tachyon? Should you run the Vibranium ones? Well, I would say if you want to be lazy, you just use this piece and this piece, use this piece for the most of the raid, use this piece for the eye phase and cloning labs, whatever. But, if you want the absolute best possible build, you're going to want this piece for the eye phase and then this piece for most other content, okay? Alright, chest piece, you have options. It's basically you just want something with good stats. I think damage buff chest piece is probably the best, with perfect triple stat is probably the way to go. However, there are other good chest pieces. OLT has a good one. The reactive cosmic payload, you can get resolve valid proficiency. Also, there's a raid one with a vibranium breaker and the Tachyon piece with a potentiometer if you're running Tachyon rockets. All of them are good. I like reactive buff though. You get perfect stats, which is just cool about it. Yeah. If you're running Berserker buff and Vibranium rockets, I would say reactive buff is the way to go. If you're running Tachyon rockets, the reactive buff's not very important. So consider that, right? If you're running Tachyon, you probably want the potentiometer Tachyon piece. If you're running the Vibranium rockets with Berserker buff, probably this piece. Alright. Yeah, here's the Omega piece. 4 pieces. There's 2 options and they're essentially the same piece, right? This is the piece you get from flashback missions, and I'll drop a date if you want to go offline and just farm the easiest flashback mission in the game, which is Here Comes the Pain. Do note the odds of getting this thing are low. Okay, there's 4 possible levels for Rampant Spike, which is the reason you care about this piece. This is the perk that matters, the 450% crit damage. It sounds really strong, and it is. You're going to be overcharged 24/7. The odds of getting a piece with Rampant Spike and Berserker buff is about, I believe, 1 in 150, okay? And there's 4 possible stats, so the odds of getting this with perfect stacks, Precision, Valor, Resolve, is really hard. But if you have it, hey, it's the best piece in the game, right? Ideally, this would be a Precision, Valor, Resolve piece. The other piece is the Big Brother, right? The exotic piece. You can get it from flashback missions. If you're farming for this piece, you're essentially guaranteed to get this piece. You can also get it from Priority Threat Sector, and the Rushka Protocol event will give you this piece. You want Precision, Valor, Resolve. Obviously, the downside of the exotic piece is this perk's not especially useful. The Arc Overload Assistance, if you can have the heroic build or you cheese the duration of your overcharge, having the second Arc Overload doesn't matter much. But yeah, I would definitely run this piece if you're running the Tachyon rockets, and if you're running the damage buff Sonic. If you're running rockets with a damage buff, run this piece. If you're running Vibranium rockets, you want to run this piece. All right, stat relics. You just want 2 relics that do precision. These are temporary relics. You don't really care about the perks. Assistance perks are the best. However, the ideal stat relics is going to be Shard of the Cosmos from Cloning Labs, and you want double precision, and ideally precision, valor would be perfect. And the perks do not matter at all. Exotic relics, Northstone of the Lethal Will is definitely your best relic. if you are running utilizing damage buffs, that 10% crit chance is insane. 4 extra seconds for damage buff is nice, and the activated strong. Otherwise, you can just run the ring as a generically pretty good relic. It makes the heroic orbs you create from Unibeam a little bit better, and occasionally you drop relics for the team, and make sure to spam cornucopia, just give out free relics for the team. Tacticon is okay, but honestly the ring's just better, if you're not using a damage buff. Champion points, bang bang, the crit ones are the best. These are decent. Here's the perks, just copy them. There's also a speed boost one, which is useful here, instead of damage while being airborne. Stat priority, again, precision is the best stat. Valor's going to be your second best stat. You want at least one piece of resolve, 1 or 2, and proficiency is your third best offensive stat. You don't really want resilience, it's not good. You definitely don't want might. And having 1 piece of intensity is good if you're running Vibranium. If you're not running Vibranium rockets, or I guess shock rockets, the status doesn't matter as much, right? For example, if you had plasma rockets with the damage buff, just the intensity doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how fast it builds up. All right, Elite Raid, look, he's the best at every single phase of the raid. Always has been. Kill could go. Iron Man's the go. All right, I'm going to show you another technique to extend your supercharge duration. Obviously, when you activate it, you get a bit. Simply activating your Unibeam will add 8 seconds, but there's a way to continuously activate Unibeam. Alright, let's show that real quick. Essentially is you do Unibeam and shoot at the same time, and I made a macro for it, so let's see what that looks like. As you can see, you can really just extend out that supercharge duration, definitely. No, sometimes it will fail, but you're going to get so much more supercharge that you can use. And when you do this, you can use the DPS melee that hits even harder, and you can just go insane, Very fair, very fair. Alright, you do this one, this, precision relics, and this is the maximum DPS deal potential. Alright, hopefully that's helpful, and of course, you just rock spam to win. Very skilled. Not at all.